So, I don't know, I've thought about it for a few years. It's so stupid.
Years?
Yeah, seriously, I can't even remember. I know it was back at my old house that I thought about it. But what the idea would be, Elmo as a scary movie. And it would be, the scene that I picture is like an empty hallway, completely dark, full of shadows.
The most cliche
The
thing.
most cliche part of a horror film. But there's this kid, like probably teenage girl. She's probably like really attractive, and she's bleeding, crawling on the hall in fear, and then you hear a noise. A door opens, and a figure comes out, and you hear scraping along the floor, and it's a knife, like almost like nails across a chalkboard, but it's a knife across the floorboard.
Right.
And then you just hear this distinct voice, and it's like,
La 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 la, la 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 la, Elmo's world.
and so the girl keeps running, and he's like,
Come on, kids, you wanna come and play?
and then Elmo would continue to chase down this girl, get on, and like he'd climb on top of her, and he's like,
It's Elmo's son.
and then he stabs her to death. I think it would be an utterly terrifying movie.
The fact that you're laughing as you're explaining it just tells me it wouldn't be terrifying at all. It'd be one of those.
No,
movies
but
that you
like
just
picture
watch.
that in like a full
picturing
budget,
it right now, dude.
cinematic movie that took itself 100% seriously.
That's what would make it dumb.
It would be hilarious.
A movie like that can't take itself seriously.
Why not?
It's Elmo.
Could it be like Deadpool and like break the fourth wall and look at the camera and be like,
What, you thought this would be a kid's movie?
that would actually be, it would be pretty great.
I think. Well, the thing what was great about Deadpool was that it was. If Deadpool wasn't like self-aware, then it would just not even be half as fun as it was.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's my, among others, that's my dream for making movies.
Yeah.
I've got to get the rights to Sesame Street first, though. But, in other news...
Yeah, so, I mean, I was thinking about, for today's podcast, to talk about Deadpool, since we just saw it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And, hey,
What?
we're recording.
Wow. I don't get what. Okay.
All right, welcome to the podcast,
Yeah,
everybody.
welcome everyone. This is Out of Order.
Yes, it is.
So our introduction didn't start at the top because
Started in the middle.
yeah, because it's out of order. If we would have started at like the regulars, then we would have been called Order.
Yeah, exactly. And we're not like anybody else.
Yeah, we wanted to be out of it.
We are non-cliche to the max.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, we're both holding Red Bulls. And
Yeah.
these,
How was
the
your
sound of our Red Bulls are really, really smooth, soothing to the
soothing to the
soothing
I agree.
to the eyes.
The sound
There
of
you go.
our Red Bulls.
You didn't expect me to say eyes, did you?
Yeah.
Not cliche.
Gosh. My ears hurt by the look of the can.
You know, they're just they can't see me, but they're just imagining me just engulfing this Red Bull.
Yeah, by looking at that can, it really hurts my ears. You know what that reminds me of? Have you seen Anchorman 2?
Yes.
I drank a whole bottle of ketchup thinking that it was wine. He's like, but you would have known that. He's like, I'm blind. It's so dumb.
That was so dumb.
That seriously that was probably my favorite part.
You know, that movie lost me when that one dude started selling bats. And it's like restaurant.
You know
or
what bats
something.
are called? Chicken of the cave. He's like, no one calls it that.
I didn't see the first one. I just saw the second one in theater, and I had I just had no idea what it was about or anything. And I came in, like expecting nothing. I was so surprised.
That
Like,
was great.
It was like a normal comedy, kind of, until like the ending battle scene, and then everything just went out the
It
window.
just was crazy. The first one had a really funny battle scene. It was hilarious, and the second one was just
Yeah, I
like,
saw the first one afterwards. Yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I
Okay.
did. I've seen both now.
I like the first battle scene better. I like the second one's. It's hilarious because it's paying homage to the first one, but I like the first one better because it was.
I guess I saw it in the correct order then, because I enjoyed both. I enjoyed the second one because it was fresh for me, and then I enjoyed the first one because it was better.
Yeah, that's out of order. It's good.
Yeah. I'm living up to the name.
Yeah, it's great. It's good.
My life reflects. I was actually born this height.
What?
I am progressively shrinking as I am going throughout my lifespan.
So you would have gotten short, get taller, and now you're shrinking again.
No, because I'm going to live to be 600.
600.
Yeah.
Okay.
So not much has changed since birth.
Yeah. I don't get it.
Well, you know, because it's like 20 divided by 600.
Okay, and that's 400. It's 40.
You were homeschooled, weren't you?
Yes, I was. Speaking of homeschooling,
All right.
there was a hostage situation today in Omaha.
What? Basically, like homeschooling.
Exactly.
Dude, here at Out of Order, we have the best transitions. We love it. All right, so tell me about this.
Did you hear about this?
By the way, it's news time.
Yeah, it's new.
Oh, something like that. All right.
Did you hear about this?
No, I had no idea.
So there was on 140th and Blondo, there was hang on just one second.
First of all, I would like to say I hate Blondo.
Blondo?
It's probably my least favorite main street in Omaha.
I probably agree. My favorite, Brunetto.
What?
Brunetto? That's mine. That's probably my favorite.
No, we're talking about like major streets.
Yeah.
Brunetto?
Brunetto, yeah.
What's that?
Well, like...
This is gonna be
God,
dumb.
It's gonna be so
This is
dumb.
about to be dumb.
I'm already, you know what?
This is a dumb joke.
You said Blondo,
You know-
and I said I So my lane is more Brunetto.
Dude, look, I'm looking at the lines of this recording.
Your laugh
every
just-
time I laugh, it like I'm sorry. I'll try to every
It
time. I'll try
peaks.
to like know when I'm gonna laugh.
Yeah.
And then back
and
up.
back away.
Sorry.
Well, on 140th
Peaks
and
and
Blondo,
valleys.
I'm gonna read a news article from KTV,
Go
News
ahead.
Watch 7.
The 6.
Yeah, that's
6.
It's channel 6, I think.
It's not actually channel. Why do they call themselves channel 6? Not. For me, it was like on channel like 5 or something.
Originally on the original line, the original channel before everything went digital, ABC was on channel 7, so it was News Watch 7.
Oh.
So, yep. Small fact. So here's the article. It says police are in a standoff with a man barricaded inside of West Omaha home. The home is in the 2500 block of the North 140th Street near 140th in Miami. A spokesperson at the scene told KETV that a man called 911 and said he'd been shot and that his girlfriend was being held hostage by another man in his house. The Omaha Police Department tweeted, police investigation at 140th and Blondo, avoid the area. We're trying to establish who is in the house and how many people are involved.
Which probably caused more people to come and check what's going on.
Yeah, for real. Avoid the area.
I mean, I'm
Everyone
not
was
that
like,
type of person, but I know plenty of people who'd be like, ooh,
Let's go
stuff's
check
going
it
down.
out.
Let's go check it out, bros. And then they get shot.
Yeah, but they said multiple officers are in the area blocking access to the neighborhood.
Oh,
So
that's good.
yeah, so I don't know how that
But
turned
what if
out.
you're like the neighbor?
They just said stay in your homes.
That'd be
they
scary.
said keep shelter. But yeah, there was a hostage situation. I don't know if it's resolved yet. I'm sure it probably is by now. But
For sure.
thoughts
I
and
think
prayers to the family.
I mean, yeah, definitely. I think I did see a picture of an old dude on the internet with a mugshot.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was
Is this
different
today?
Today. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, it was last week.
Oh, okay.
It's relevant,
That could
right?
have been him.
Yeah. No, maybe there was a different guy,
Yeah.
but I think I did hear something about that. That's insane, though. Like,
Yeah.
that never,
Especially on 140th and Blondo.
stuff like
that's
that never
closer to
happens
the west
anything
side of-
past 30. You know, it's always 30th or under.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
it was at like 10:30 something, so it was just like it was
Yeah.
it's pretty
You know,
fast.
I know what you said about jokes.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no jokes.
No jokes.
This is a serious podcast.
Oh, it's a serious podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So, yeah, but that was crazy. My sister came home and she told me, she's like, Gino. So she told me to lock the front door.
So we don't know the shooter's intention or why they were.
I can take a look right now, see if there's any.
Yeah. Why don't you, while we're on air,
you know, here we go.
it's the best time to do it.
Now that I have the new multitasking with iOS 9, I can use 2 apps at once. It's pretty great. Thanks,
The Super
Apple.
Bowl commercial is not very funny.
Which one?
The one I'm listening to right now.
Hostage, Omaha. Alright, there has been no... Let me look at news real quick.
Well,
but
there's
right now-
definitely something about it.
Nope. Right now, the most recent post is 4 hours ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Still no word. So,
Still no word?
yeah, not since 4 hours ago they haven't posted anything, and it just says the same thing, a man's holding someone hostage. So, it could still be going on, I'm sure, by now.
I doubt it.
I mean, that'd be crazy if it was, but, yeah. So, avoid 140th
If
and
one
Blondo.
guy can stop the police for 4 hours.
Well, yeah, but if it's a hostage situation, you can't just barricade, like, you can't just berate yourself in. They've got to wait for them to catch him off guard or to, like, get him to calm down. So, if he hasn't calmed down and he's still just as adamant about whatever he's doing, they gotta wait. Can't risk
Do you ever, like, say you're, like, in a classroom or, like, in a large setting, do you ever think about, like, what you would do if, like, a shooter came?
Yeah,
Just anywhere?
all the time.
I think about that all the time.
Yeah, all the time.
And something Ben Carson said at one point that he got a lot of flack for was he was talking about, I forget which shooting it was. It wasn't like the San Marino one, but the one before that.
Columbine?
No, that was a long time ago. I'm talking like recent.
Oh, okay.
A recent shooting at like a school, or I forget. Is that like a community college? But anyways, I think it was in Washington. And Ben Carson said that if he was in that situation, instead of hiding, he would get everybody to run at the shooter. And people were saying he was being, you know, that he was blaming the victims. He was not being very PC or whatever. You know, like they were like it's tough to say what you would do in a situation like that. But I mean, he's totally right. Like that would be the smart thing to do, because when you got nobody has automatic weapons. I mean, so you gotta literally like press the button for every shot. Like there's no way, if there's like 4 people running at the guy, there's no way you can kill all of them. Like almost none of the mass shooters are like expert shots anyway.
Yeah.
So I
So
mean,
you'd have a greater chance of surviving.
yeah, I would.
That makes
definitely
sense.
say that. And I'd like to say that I would be one of those people.
I've always pictured myself like
As the hero.
going up to the guy and being able to convince him to calm down. Like I feel like I would be the negotiator and get him to think about his actions. And I'd probably get killed in the process, but that's always been something that I have kind of aspired to do.
What would be the first thing you said to make him not shoot you?
I hate to say the cliche, but it would be the cliche. It would be like, whoa, like got it, like you're in control here. Just kind of like,
Oh,
let
really?
him know.
It
like,
wouldn't
let
be
him
like
know.
it wouldn't be like you're better than this.
No, like I'd start
Or
off
it
like
wouldn't-
I would start off with like, got it, and he'd say get down, and I'd be like, it's all right. It's and I just kind of slowly start walking towards him, and then I'd just try and figure out like what was going on, like why is this? And if I'd probably get killed in the process, but my goal would be just to calm him down or get him caught off guard.
What if he's like, shut up?
I might try one more time, and if he shot me, then he'd silence me, or if he, otherwise, I mean, I don't know. I think I've always wanted to be that type of diplomat, like in movies where they always have that one guy that steps in and is just like, it's okay, don't worry. I like being the guy, like the middleman.
It's nice to think of yourself as that way. I don't know. I had a funny story with a friend of mine where, and I think he'd be like, he listens to this podcast, so I think he'd be okay with me mentioning it.
Mm-hmm.
So one time we were in a car, and I was in the back seat with him. He was next to me, and there was another person in the back seat, and then there was 2 people in front. So it was like a full car, seated at 5. It was in high school, so bad drivers, obviously. And so this girl was driving the car, and I think we were just like blasting music or something, not paying attention to the road. And it's a red light, and there's a car that stopped, and we're like going super fast, full speed. And then she's like, "Oh my gosh!" She like, because she realized we were gonna hit the car ahead of us, so she like pounded the brakes, and we're like slowly not slowly. We were actually going really fast, but in my mind we were going really slow.
Yeah.
And I knew we were gonna hit the car, and it was kind of like everything was like slowed down.
Yeah.
And I didn't really like, almost as if like I was so focused on what was happening I couldn't hear anything.
Yeah.
But then, so we didn't end up hitting the car. But then when I regained my consciousness, I realized that there was this like loud, like high pitched screaming in the background, and I'm like, who was that? And I look over, and my friend, his arms are like this, and he's like screaming on his top as loud as he can, in like the super high pitched voice. And so it was interesting. It was like that's what you would do in a situation like that, you know? Like,
Oh, that's what you were thinking he would do in a situation like
well,
that?
no, that's what he did in a situation like that. Like, he was holding his arms out, like making sure we wouldn't fall forward, even though it probably would.
Gotcha.
But he was like screaming super loud. It was just funny. Like, it's just like, it was interesting. Like, for me, I was more like just focused on the situation, not focused on other people necessarily, just on what was going on. So it was like that sobering moment of like, this is what I would do in a situation like that. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I always have
Have you ever been in a situation like that?
In a car accident, yes.
Well, yeah, but I'm like, yeah, I guess. I mean, car accident's one of them, but like anything, like,
well,
you literally have to think, like, you can't like prepare yourself for something like that.
I can't say that like it's the same thing, but when stuff goes down, like really dramatic stuff, like when someone's in a someone's like causing more trouble than they ought, or someone's just being irrational or stuff, I have been the one that can usually be the middleman and kind of calm things down and get people to see clearly. So I can't that's probably why I think so.
Yeah,
I would do that in an escalated.
I guess in a shooter type of scenario, you'd probably have more time to think than if a car accident or like protecting.
Yeah.
Maybe
I
like,
would.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing the thing that I know would run through my mind if I was in that situation is I would feel a responsibility that I had to do something. Like I know for a fact that I wouldn't just run unless there was 100% no hope. Like if it was an automatic weapon or it was something where it's like our best chance is to run, I'd probably run. But I know that my first thought is, what can I do to save this?
So is that an aspect of your personality, would you say?
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's
So if somebody doesn't have that aspect in their personality, can we blame them for not feeling that way?
I think that it's okay if it's your first thought, but if you don't ever take any responsibility for it, then you might miss some opportunities.
But it's easier for you than it is for them.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Obviously it's easier, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But I think that it's one person's job. The better you know yourself, the better you can do things beyond who you are.
Right.
And so I think that
but is it everyone's job to protect everybody?
No. But I think that if I know, let's just say I become aware that like I chicken out or I back down in these types of situations, or when, I guess a better way of looking at it would be like, I know that when I get under a lot of pressure or when I'm working every single day, I get exhausted, and then when I get exhausted, I use that as an excuse to not do my work that I need to do. Right. Whether that's homework or anything. And so because of that, since I know that about myself, it's my responsibility to take responsibility for that and change that. And so I think that if one knows that they can do something, and they know that their go-to is to run or to not do anything, I would say there's a little responsibility for that. Even if it's after the fact. Like, let's just say they get out of the situation and they realize it. sometimes taking responsibility is just being willing to admit, like, I could have done something.
Yeah.
That
Yeah, and in those slower situations like a shooter or maybe like an apocalypse situation where like like think of like what movie is that? Did you ever see
X-Men Apocalypse?
No, San Andreas.
San Andreas, yeah.
Yeah. So like those type of situations where you have a long time to think about what you're gonna do and how to escape and who you're gonna bring with, those things, I feel like you do have a responsibility, at least for the people that you are close with, to protect.
Yeah.
But in the situations like I mentioned with the car crash, and where you literally don't have time to think, it's just you're just
That's just your sheer
your
instinct.
raw
Yeah.
sheer reaction.
I think
I don't want to say that there's no responsibility at all, because I think maybe your initial reaction is reflected to who you are as a person, which is something you can change. But in those aspects, I would say you don't necessarily have a responsibility other than initially yourself, because I think
then reflecting. I think if
reflecting, but I think that chiefly the responsibility is to save yourself. In any
short
situation.
moment, yeah.
Yeah, because
that's
if
just
you don't
pure
even
instinct.
save yourself, you can't save anyone else.
Yeah. Tell that to the guy who was gonna marry the wife onto San Andreas. He pushed that guy out onto the building.
I hated that.
He was
just,
the cliche
But
of like, we need someone to instigate this marriage to get back together.
It didn't reflect his character before
Yeah.
the incident. It just didn't make sense.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
They tried to make it like a big reveal, like, oh, this guy's actually
douche.
a douche, but it's like, no, like you gotta show that beforehand, kind of, or maybe like,
or just some subtle hint.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe
I
that's
get that.
maybe they're saying like these situations bring out the real in people, and that guy was just faking it. I don't know. Yeah, interesting conversation though.
Yeah.
Definitely. All right, what's next?
Next, well, in other news, ebooks. So I was just looking at the, they just did a post. I can't remember where I read it. I think it was on CNN, which is really funny because it doesn't seem like a CNN type of post. But ebooks, the sales for ebooks in 2015 have
Gone
dropped.
down. Yeah.
Dropped by 11.1%.
I've heard that.
And then paperback, like paper books,
Went up.
went up by 2.5%.
There you go.
So I think the hype for ebooks is going down.
They did. Yeah. I agree.
And I think for me, I still love ebooks. Like anytime the way, and I know I'm the crazy one, but I do something really weird. If I get a book, I like to read it in hard copy, but I will always buy a digital version to have it on my iPad just in case I don't have the book. So I always have both versions. And sometimes I get 3 versions, and I have one audiobook, I have the digital book, and then I have the...
How are audiobooks doing?
I don't know. I didn't see. I'm assuming they're probably doing really well, because I know I hear nothing but positive from, like, I always get the audiobook. Like, I feel like it's a really
Like
good
Audible
go-to.
and
Yeah.
websites like that.
It's so convenient. Like, I
mean,
read,
every second YouTuber I hear is sponsored by Audible. So, I mean, I assume they have money to give away.
pretty much.
But, yeah.
And it's like iTunes they use Audible. So, like,
They pair.
Yeah. So, essentially, Audible is the source, and then iTunes just is like an Amazon for Audible, and you just buy it on iTunes. So I always do the same thing. I read the Steve Jobs book through Audible, so I didn't read it, but
I've never actually heard an audiobook before.
they're great.
Well, I've always only ever read paperback. So,
I think
I don't know.
I always like, they give you a little preview. I like to preview what the reader sounds like. The guy who did the Steve Jobs book, phenomenal. Like, great tone, really energetic. It was like he was the one breathing the conversation. But then there's been other stuff, like, the movie, the book Black.
Yeah.
I looked into the audiobook, and it was just monotone. So I was just like, okay, I'm not getting this. So I like to preview the narrator before I buy the audiobook.
And there's only one narrator per book? Like, you can't choose? Okay.
Yeah. Because essentially what it is, it's a guy sitting in a room in front of a microphone reading the book.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that.
So, yeah, but it's interesting, though. Like, in this modern age that something like ebooks would not do well. Like something for on the go, or something you less effort to do, and they're not doing as well. I mean, the progression of our world is going to more convenient, on the go type of things, and books just seem to be left behind in that. But no, I mean, not the case.
Yeah. I don't
Could
think,
be this counterculture
I think it's more
type of thing going on.
I don't think that, I don't think paperback is ever going to go. I mean, if it does, it's going to be a long time from now. Otherwise, if it does go, it'll be like you have to special order it or something. Where it's just like the ebook is the way to go, and that's where you always buy it. And then if you want a paperback, you can always get it, but it's not made unless someone orders it or something.
Yeah,
that would be probably one way that I could picture it going. But I think that like
it could turn into something like vinyls. Vinyl, like listening to music on a vinyl. Everyone claims it sounds better, right? You can still buy it like special, but I mean, people do, but new music does come out in vinyls. But I'm just saying it's going to be like really rare and more of like a delicacy or like hipster type of thing. Yeah, I could see that happening.
That makes sense. I think that it's just by it dropping in sales, I don't think that like necessarily means anything negative about the business. I just think that the hype is down and it's probably just leveling out. I think that ebooks are still going to sell just as well. I don't think that they're ever going to go down and be like, oh, we're not going to sell them anymore. I think it's just like people aren't flooding to like, oh my gosh, there's a Kindle, there's a
I mean that affects the sales of those things.
So as well, I think that the rise and the crazy sales was just because it was a new phenomenon, and now that it's not new, the sales are just kind of like leveling out. So, but also on the same subject, there's a newspaper. It's a Russian-owned British newspaper, and it's called The Independent. They're closing all versions of their printed newspaper, and they're switching it all to digital. So they just announced that their final, this is their final print this week, and they're going all digital. So, because apparently more people are just going to their internet page and no one's interested in buying the newspaper anymore. So, which I think is interesting because, like, when I think about that, and I think of people like the New York Times, I feel like is like a very vital business for America, and like they need to make money, but you can get so much information online.
I don't get it. I think newspapers do serve a separate service than like online news sources like CNN, things like that. But when a newspaper becomes online, I don't know why I just wouldn't use one of these online news sources. Why would I go to a online newspaper instead? I feel like newspaper serves a separate service than newspapers like the on the go thing. I mean, I guess so is. I don't know. With online reading, I can only take so much. A newspaper is a long thing, and for me, I'd just be too distracted to read an online newspaper. So I need something in my hand to keep me interested to read.
Yeah,
that's just the way. Maybe that's just the way I work, but I can't.
Well, I don't think that like. The trend for that is like people want information, they want it now. So the same thing, like people have probably had to change their writing and everything. Like how can we get the majority of this information in less amount of information or in less amount of text so that people can get in and get out. So I think that realistically digital writing has probably affected all forms of writing because people want it less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you prefer reading a paper?
I've always felt smart trying to read a newspaper, but I never read a newspaper.
Really?
Yeah. Like I always go.
I mean, my parents don't ever get it, but every once in a while they do. Omaha World Herald, and when they do, I read through it.
Really?
I find it really interesting. I always wish that we had a subscription.
I think it is a crucial part to society for people to be able to be informed and someone to be able to.
Yeah, but I mean nowadays you can be informed by just typing in
Facebook,
CNN or NPR.com or Facebook or Twitter. Yeah,
Facebook.
Unfortunately, that's where most people our age, get their news sources, and most of them are insanely biased, which is annoying. The thing that really bugs me about social media is the fact that these people, especially on Facebook, always just link these articles to some political debate and or some like pointing out how wrong some political campaign person is or something. and they're always so biased, and half of them are not even true. And it's like it's almost as if like these people are just being manipulated. You know what I mean? Like everyone is being manipulated, and then people see these on their Facebook timelines, and people who are uninformed about the information take it as truth, and that becomes their whole belief in the political system. And millennials, like me, we're stubborn. We hear something, the first thing what we hear is what we believe, and then we cling on to it. So when we hear it first on Facebook, it's what we believe, and usually it's liberal. Not that saying liberals are always wrong.
I think if I could have any request
so
for Facebook, I don't know how recent it was, but stop making posts look like newspaper articles. Like, it's so frustrating because it says like this, and this, and it looks like a news article. You know what I mean? So then when you read it, it looks like it's an official news thing, and so because it's presented that way, I feel like it's easier to look at it like it's truth. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's just the design of the Facebook link.
Yeah.
Is just, and it just looks so official. I can't stand that. It's
the
so
thing that really
frustrating.
bugged me. And I'm not supporting Donald Trump, but one of the things that really bugged me is it was it was probably like 2 months ago or maybe 3 months ago. There was a press conference where somebody asked Donald Trump if he thinks it would be a good idea for Muslims to wear badges to identify themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And instead of outright saying no, which what he probably should have said, he's like, we're going to have to consider a lot of things. He didn't say yes. But then social media went crazy. All these articles were about Donald Trump wants Muslims to wear badges. He's Hitler. He's a Nazi. All these things. I'm like, he didn't even say that. And now everyone's taking it as truth. I've heard so many people like use that as an argument to saying that he's a bad person. And that he's super racist and whatever, even though Muslim isn't a race. But I mean, I don't support him at all. I mean, totally he says crazy things, but like things like that just really bug me. Like you don't know what you're saying. Like you just take all this stuff and you take it as truth. It's frustrating.
I think I can. For me, I point that back to the design of Facebook, where it's like because it looks official.
But even without Facebook, Twitter does the same thing.
Well, I agree, but like for me, the way I look at it is like because it looks official, I feel like it encourages people to create their own blogs and say their own thing, which isn't a bad thing. But when you've got everyone thinking that I don't know how to say this without it sounding bad. I'm gonna say it anyways. Everyone thinking that their opinion is right, so then they share it, and they share it with 100% bias and without thinking of both sides. Then it's just terrible. It's awful.
You're 100% right.
It's awful.
It's awful. It is.
So it's funny because usually I think the opposite way of like I feel like everyone should have a voice and have a say. But I think that anyone who does share their voice and share what they have to say, they need to be willing to think of it on the opposite side as well. I feel like especially if you're taking a stance on something, you need to look at it in both ways. Yeah. And so, bugs the crap out of me.
Yeah, and your argument can't be calling people names either. Which is most of the arguments I find on Facebook. Like, this guy is a blank, so this guy is...
He's a racist. He's a feminist. He's a sexist.
No, he's not,
he's
a
sexist. Somethingist.
Yeah. I mean,
he's a Nazist.
You can't... man, I
not exist.
I know that this is stupid, but I just feel like you can't call somebody racist, sexist, or anything unless you actually meet them. I don't think... I've said crazy, stupid things.
I have too.
And people could quote me, and then people could call me racist.
Clearly you're racist, yeah.
But honestly, I'm not. Like, seriously, I'm not. And I'm not sexist. I'm not any of that.
Yeah.
And I don't even... Donald Trump, he's not racist. I seriously don't think he is.
There was...
And so many people call him that because of the things he says. It's just his personality. He likes roughing people's feathers. But, like, the same people who are calling Donald Trump racist, I've heard them say the most stupid, crazy things. Yeah. And they get away with it because they're not famous. Like... Oh, it's so annoying.
There's been times where, like if anyone knows me, I love everyone. Like, I don't have, like, any preference to any sort of skin color. And, there was one time, I remember, and granted, I was a bit unaware of how loud I was talking. So it is a bit my fault. But there was a time, It was when Dawn of the Planet of the Apes came out.
No.
And
I already know where this is going.
And I was joking with some friends of mine, and I believe that there was an African-American guy in my group, and we were talking, and we were just laughing about the movie.
I like how you say African-American just so you
See,
make yourself feel like...
I've always felt
better.
conscious about, do I say black or do I just say African-American? So because of just trying to be respectful, I say African-American.
Right.
But we were talking about how Planet of the Apes was a mirrored image of slavery. And how it started out with, like, they called them dumb, and then they revolted, and now they're free, and Caesar was like Martin Luther King. And then he broke everyone free, and he set freedom to the apes. And so we were laughing about it, and then there was a guy who came up to me, and he was just like, hey, that's not funny. And, he was extremely angry. He took it personally. And, he called me racist, and I was just like, in my mind, I was just like there was no hate towards it. There's no, like, and if you got to know me, you know, you would know that I'm not thinking that way. So, like,
again, a racist comment does not make you racist.
Yeah.
I don't think it does.
So
I think at some point everyone's made a racist comment.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like everyone does.
And so, for me, like, I had to take... It's a tough bullet to bite, because, like, I had to take responsibility for being unaware of the fact that someone could be offended by it. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, I said something that offended someone.
I agree, yeah.
But at the same time,
yeah.
I can't stand how personal people take it. Just like, I mean, if you just even listen to the context of the entire crowd and the conversation, it was people just laughing about, oh, like, what if this was this, you know? So it's just kind of frustrating how that happens.
It's a two-sided coin, definitely. I think you need to be aware of the audience.
I said two-sided coin last week.
Did I?
I did.
So you did.
And you took
there
my
you go.
That's great.
I took it from
it's
you.
Brilliant.
Yeah. I think you need to be aware of your audience, and also I think that, I mean, if you claim that you love everybody, I think you need to display it.
Yeah.
In the way that you talk. But also, I think that if one comment makes you offended, no matter what it is about, like, I mean, like, people literally make fun of me for being a ginger all the time. People make fun of Canada all the time, and I think the best way to go about it is just to laugh. I mean, because unless the person actually hates Canada or actually hates gingers, like, literally,
what difference does it make if you make a stance on it? What difference does it make if you make this bold stance on it, like, oh, you're making fun of genders? You know?
Right.
It doesn't do anything.
It doesn't do anything. I think
an awkward situation.
Being offended is the worst way you can react to anything.
Yeah.
And if you are offended, I think
there's a way to approach it.
There is, yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of getting offended, NASA posted a picture today.
Another one.
It has nothing to do with getting offended. But this I will post. So last week I said I would post it on the YouTube video. This week I mean it.
The ball.
I dropped the ball. But this was NASA posts a picture every single day, and they call it a picture of the day. And this one was from last week, but it just kind of stood out to me. It's from the space station. Isn't that gorgeous?
Wow.
You can see the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's amazing.
Is that Europe?
No, Africa.
Oh, it's Africa. Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
So, it was a smooth transition.
So cool.
Yeah. So, I love it.
I love the lights, you know? Like, just looking
I think it's
down
amazing
and
the fact that you can see it from space.
Yeah.
I've always felt like it was fake. You know, I was like, there's no way you could see that. Like, it would have to be so bright down here for us. But it's crazy.
Well, yeah, when you go farther away, things become more concentrated. It just makes sense.
But it's amazing. Yeah. So, thanks for and if you didn't look, everyone look at the screen right there. Oh, it's great. Woo! It's Africa. Woo! 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 Yay! Woo! Woo! So, yeah.
And here's a picture of a goldfish.
Yeah, he's got a mustache.
Yeah. It's
Hitler. We found him.
Yep.
He's down in the coast of
I just said that so Gino has more effort.
I have more efforting to do.
All right, back to the main.
Okay, so the main event. So we just saw Deadpool.
Yes, we did.
And
okay,
wow.
rating out of 10.
Oof. I have to give it
Wait.
Can we have decimals?
Pretend that you aren't like in the post seeing the movie high. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Pretend like you slept on it, thought about it. Give me your honest out of 10.
Can we give decimals, or is it just plain numbers?
If you feel like you need a decimal, then fine. I'm not gonna need.
I would say 8.5.
Wow.
I enjoyed it. I
8.5.
loved how self-aware it was.
To give a little context, what did you think of The Force Awakening? Out of 10.
9.3.
Okay. Wait, give it a little more context.
Okay.
Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump. Whew. 8.3.
Harry Potter, the very last
The
one.
very last one? 8.7.
Avengers, first one.
First one. Okay. Oh, can I give context to this one?
This is context you're already given. You're giving with the answer.
Okay.
But you can give more context.
0.8.
You mean 8
4. 0.84. 8.4.
I was going to say
yeah,
8.84.
I would say,
8.4.
okay, maybe
It's
8.5.
better. So better than Deadpool.
Maybe 8 point. I would probably.
Wait, what was
tie.
Deadpool again?
So Deadpool's 8.5. There's a reason. The storyline for the Avengers is ugh.
I agree.
The jokes is ugh.
The
main
jokes
bad
are
guys,
funny. No,
you know, the jokes are fine.
The jokes.
The
Okay,
are
you got to think
fine.
about the first time you watched it.
Yes, and that's the thing. The main reason that I feel like it gets such a good review is because it's the first time I've ever seen something so amazing.
Yeah.
Like, that movie changed the way that any movie I've ever looked at was. Bringing all of the cinematic universe into one thing, crazy. Blew my mind. So because of that, I give it, like, this...
It's good that you take that into consideration.
You know what I mean?
I agree. Yeah.
But the story of the Avengers and the... oh man, there's a nuclear missile, and then I'm gonna fly it into space, and of course he saved himself by getting through the port in the last second, and then of course all of the bad guys are connected to one singular computer, and they all die, and of course all of those individual bad guys are so weak that they can't do anything, and all of the Avengers completely match up to them. It was just like, ugh. And then when they did the same thing in Avengers 2,
okay,
it was just like, so the story is weak, but the execution was superb.
Okay. All right, so that's a little context there. So you really like Deadpool?
I really liked Deadpool. I just, for me, it was self-aware, it was funny, and I think Ryan Reynolds just took the show. Like, you could tell he was so excited to make this movie, and I feel like that made it.
I feel like I've never seen this side of Ryan Reynolds before.
I haven't either.
Before this movie, I always seen him as like that guy in a chick flick.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
He just seemed like a regular cookie cutter, like more than average looking actor. Like
yeah.
I mean, he's Canadian. That's it. That's all I
Interesting.
thought of it.
Yeah,
I
he never stood out to me and this made me like, oh man, I wish I could meet him.
Like this makes me want to watch The Proposal again.
I've never seen The Proposal.
You haven't?
I
actually kind of like it.
I don't think I've ever seen.
This makes me want to watch it again. Because then I'm like, wait, is this the same actor? Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
He took it full force.
Yeah, I agree. And okay, so my rating?
Yeah.
I would give it a 7.3.
Okay.
10.
So
Yeah.
context. Give a reason.
Give a reason? Okay. Well, give me some movies, and I'll rate them. Just give you.
Okay. Return of the King.
9.2.
9.2. Two Towers.
8.9. Whoa. Wait. Yeah, 8.9.
I could agree with that. Fellowship of the Ring.
8.9. I don't know. I feel
For
like
me, it would
first
be
one
9.
and 2.
I would give
I
it.
think
I like Fellowship better than I liked the Twin Towers.
Helm's Deep just makes number 2 amazing.
I agree.
Helm's Deep was my favorite scene in all of the series. So.
Okay.
But anyways, keep going.
Avengers.
7.6.
Okay. Man of Steel.
5.4. Like I did not like the Man of Steel.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't hate it, but it was just average.
It was just Superman.
I saw it like once and then half
Okay.
time, and then I didn't.
How
watch it.
about one more? Terminator 2.
Was it Salvation?
No, Terminator 2 is the one with the liquid metal.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Oh my gosh, we're watching it tonight.
No, we're not.
No, we're not.
It's really late.
We're watching it sometime.
Give me one more movie. Just, I'm gonna get my skill correct.
The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Oh.
Gwyneth Paltrow
Yeah,
dies.
yeah.
Wait, what? Gwen dies.
I was gonna say. Just because of the Gwen dying scene, 6.8.
Is that a negative or a positive?
Positive.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I would give it a 7.3 because I give a few points because the acting was phenomenal. Like Andrew Garfield was.
I love Andrew Garfield.
I wish he was Spider-Man in that
Emma
one.
Stone.
Yeah. Their love story was beautiful. Like I believed it. I felt like they had chemistry.
Yeah.
Like and then when
And
she died, I felt like she
so
died.
much emotion, and I'm like,
it was he just carried that so well.
My
Like
heart-
if you were to
my
put
heart was
Tobey
crushed.
Maguire in those shoes, I would have been laughing at the scene. But it was he did a great job.
But then
okay, so you said
bad
you would
guys.
give Deadpool what? 0.7
you keep saying point.
No,
7.3, I think.
7.3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll tell you why. I loved the comedy. It was so funny. Really rude though. Like, I have a limit on my rudeness that I
Okay.
can take. Before it's just like, okay. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a fan.
Okay.
Just not my type of humor, I guess. At times, I do love self-aware humor. Self-aware humor is like right up my alley.
Okay.
So like every time he turned to the camera and talked, or anytime they're like, this will advance the plot, you know.
He's like, why? There's a guy over there. He's like, why? What does it want me? He says probably just to advance the plot.
Right.
It's just like, it's so
yeah.
funny.
Should we? I mean, okay. Let's not like get too much into it. We don't want to spoil anything.
Spoiler alert: Deadpool.
No. Don't even say Deadpool dies because Deadpool.
He didn't die.
He can't.
He can't die.
He can't die.
That's a spoiler alert.
No, it's not. You just look that up. Type in Deadpool powers, and you already know that.
He can't die.
Yeah. I don't even care that he can't die. Like, it's not like a Superman can't die, where he just feels like Superman's like amazing. Okay. So yeah, the comedy was great, although sometimes it was too much.
Okay.
The action was awesome until the final scene. I thought that the final scene where we got the two people, you know, okay, I won't really spoil it, but like the final scene, I was just unimpressed by.
I didn't like.
It felt like
the
it was a
Colossus-
different, yeah.
Colossus fighting the girl. Every time they switched to that, I was
didn't
like,
care.
I honestly, you could have left Colossus out of this, and I would have been perfectly fine.
And then the other girl who had the cool powers. I don't know her name.
I
What's her
only
name?
liked her.
What's her name?
Something super nuclear warhead girl. I think that was.
Was that her
name.
actual
I
name?
think it was her name, and he's like, "That's
Is she
so awesome."
Is she in the X-Men?
Apparently,
Oh.
she's never been in an X-Men movie yet, but I'm pretty sure she's in X-Men universe.
Okay. I thought her powers were so cool, but she just didn't use it. There was like literally
She
2
was-
minutes of
yeah.
her just sitting on a rock.
Yeah, and
Where
looking
she
behind
could-
the car.
Where
yeah.
she could have like done stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
And I was like, what the heck?
I
and
liked
also-
her when she shot him up. You know, like she got under him.
Yeah,
and she
that
shot
was
him
really
up. That was
cool.
cool.
Yeah, I just felt like the action was amazing.
Yeah.
Up until the final scene, it was just, and then it was just meh. It felt like cliche action scene.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
And
I loved.
and-
Part of what made that up.
Wait, I don't know. Maybe
the train.
Should you mention it?
Yeah, it's not too much of a spoiler. He like the whole surface that they're on falls over. He's like, that was amazing, and in the middle
Oh,
of it,
yeah,
when he
yeah,
gets
yeah,
tackled,
yeah,
that
yeah,
was
yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah,
It's just like
that was good. That was really good.
because at first, if he wouldn't have gotten tackled, it would have been like funny. But him getting tackled in the middle of that kind of just like
it
redeemed it.
That's the type of humor that I love. Yeah, because it's like non-cliche, like super funny.
It's like taking a cliche and flipping it.
Right.
And
exactly.
I love that.
Exactly. Right. So I
like
guess
27.
I know 7.3 seems low, but like I put so much emphasis on final scenes, like final action scenes.
Okay.
Like I feel like a final action scene should be the best action scene in the movie, rather than the middle action scene or the beginning action scene.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I didn't like the Avengers. I thought the final Avengers scene was not that great.
Yeah, except when Hulk threw Loki over and over. That was great.
That was great. Yeah, that was great.
That kind of made up for it. For me, what made up the final scene, and I know I get that.
That's why I hated Man of Steel.
Oh, Metropolis just destroyed.
It's like one guy punches one guy 20 feet, other guy punches other guy 30 feet, other guy punches other
worst
guy
part about
40
it is he's so self-conscious about like, oh, I can't kill someone, I can't snap his neck, oh no, he's gonna kill someone. But it's just like, you've been flying through buildings, destroying them, destroying city blocks, and now you're deciding to get a conscious about killing someone? Get over yourself, snap his neck. Like it was stupid.
Yeah.
But for me, what made up the final action scene, which I could agree, like there's a part where like he cuts off a guy's head and uses it as a soccer ball. Hilarious.
That was great.
That was phenomenal. But I think they made a really good, intriguing love story and origin story of how he became to be Deadpool, to the point where I enjoyed it more than the current story.
Yeah, it was so funny. There's a like when they're explaining the love story, they cut to different scenes of like them being together.
Yeah.
I thought it was a different girl in each scene. And so I was like, okay, this guy's a huge player. Like he has a different is with a different girl every scene.
Yeah.
But then the girl's like, let's get married. And it's like, oh, he doesn't actually love her. And then he's like saying he loves her, and I'm like, wait, no, he doesn't, because it's a new girl every time. And then you're like, then you whisper, and then I'm like, hey, were they all the same girl? And you're like, yeah. And so I'm just like, oh, I get it.
I think that the one thing that she had short hair when he met her.
Yeah.
And then she had long hair.
Yeah.
So I feel like there should have been like a scene in the middle just showing, oh, I have long hair again.
Yeah.
Just because she did look different by the time, and that was all within like 30 seconds. It was just like this scene is like, oh, she has long hair now. Like,
so yeah, that was it. Other than that, like it was a good movie. I don't know if I'd watch it more than 2 more times.
Yeah.
I know for you like the humor a lot more than I do. I think you appreciated the ending scene maybe a little more than I did. And I think the backstory was not as good for me as maybe you liked it. I thought it was okay. I really liked the friend he has who owns the bar. His friend was
great. He's super funny. Honest.
He's so funny. He's the type of character that I love.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but, I think that, I can't say that his origin story is golden, but I think that I've gotten to a point with superhero movies and even origin stories in general where it's just like, I feel like everyone's just like, the new Pan movie, I didn't even see it. Did you see it?
Yeah, I did.
And? Garbage, right?
Yeah, it was terrible acted, terrible story, but it was beautiful
visually. Okay. See, I think that everyone, like when a new director comes up, he's like, oh, I'm going to give you my version of Pan and his origin story. And like, I feel like the last 2, 3, or 4 Peter Pan movies have been origin stories for Peter Pan. You know what I mean? It's like, this is how Peter... And they all want to kick off a franchise. And they give their own vision of what this thing is. And same thing for like superheroes where... Like, the thing that I was nervous about Ant-Man for was I was like, oh my gosh, I've got to do another first movie. It's just like, I've got to see how this guy gets started. And I'm just to the point where I don't care. Mm-hmm. Like, as much as I want to have a context for the character, origin stories are so boring that I don't give a crap. Like, I just almost shoehorn this character in. And so the fact that I wasn't bored for an origin story shows good credit for the writer.
And they did a good job of like cutting to the origin story and then back to the main action, and it kept you like, I was never bored for the whole movie.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And I liked its running time. I almost wish that it was longer, but it was only an hour and 47 minutes.
Yeah, it's pretty short.
And I think that they did a really good job because it was just like they knew where to stop. Like, they didn't add 45 minutes of just fluff. Mm-hmm. It was a really good.
Yeah, and if you are going to go see it, I would say stay till the end. The end credit scene is worth the wait. It's pretty funny.
What was it that he said? He said something.
Wait, don't say it. We can't let them know.
Why not?
Because we don't want them to know. We want them to be surprised.
Okay.
It was good. But okay, before we digress from different subject, I want the people to know that if you are, I don't know if I want to give an age limit to watching this movie, but this movie is very vulgar, definitely rated R. Definitely if you are not good with blood, if you are not good with extremely rude humor, or what else?
Sexual content.
Or sexual content. I definitely don't watch the movie.
Yeah. I would
don't bring your kids.
Go to imdb.com. They're going to there's a profile that says parental guidance. Read through that, and if you have a question mark about it, don't watch it. Don't compromise what you feel like is right for you. So it's a great movie, but it does take a certain it's like eating a lemon. You either love it or you hate it. And don't try and convince yourself to. It might not be your cup of tea. But before we digress,
I don't think you're missing out if you're not watching it.
Yeah. Interesting.
I don't think you are.
I really wish I don't know if I could get my dad to watch this, because I feel like he would have a stance against it. But I really want, I like it just because it's like a different kind of humor. Like, I haven't seen a movie. I shouldn't say I've never seen a movie like this, but I almost have never seen a movie like this. One that's so self-aware and so funny in its own way, and so vulgar to the point where it's like, it's funny, almost universally funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because one thing that I appreciate, I love watching with my grandparents is they're like very heavily devoted Catholics. But there's points where we watch movies and they have these inappropriate scenes, but it's like it's a universal type of comedy where it's just like, yes, it's inappropriate, but it is funny, and they laugh about it. And I love sharing those laughs with people.
I think everyone's different. Some people, they struggle with
and I don't
whatever.
Yeah, so if you have if you don't feel like you should watch it, don't watch it. But I would love to see it with my dad.
And for those people who aren't wanting to see it, let's talk about something else then.
Wait,
what?
One more thing.
Oh, what's up? Okay.
Give your least favorite and your favorite part.
Oh, do you want? We should do this.
Yes. Spoiler alert! If you
Oh no.
Skip 3 minutes. Skip 3
how
minutes.
About okay? How about we save this for a different time? I have a friend.
Okay.
Who has been a Deadpool fan for like 5 years straight, read like all his comics. I want to interview him for the podcast.
Okay.
And I think this would be a good time. What we're about to do would be a good time for that podcast.
So we share our favorite part and least favorite part.
Yes.
With him. Okay, yes. That's fair. Alrighty.
I think
tune in next time, or maybe next.
I don't think it'll be.
Time.
We'll see.
Or
we'll
sometime. Tune in sometime.
Eric, but yes.
And we will. Okay.
All right.
Next subject. I got it. All right. So, one thing. Deadpool got 83% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Woo!
Their consensus on Rotten Tomatoes is fast, funny, and gleefully profane, with the fourth wall busting Deadpool subverts superhero film formula with wildly entertaining and decidedly non-family friendly results.
Yep,
I could agree. I think the one thing that I do appreciate about it is it's unapologetic. It's just like, this is it. Deal with it. Love it. So, another movie that came out this week, which I was really looking forward to, I really wanted it to be good, Two-Lander. 200 Lander.
You didn't like it?
I didn't watch it.
Oh.
But I looked at the results. Usually before I go see a movie, I always read Rotten Tomatoes. Because 9 times out of 10, I
Rotten
agree
Tomatoes fanboy we got here.
Huge. I 9 times out of 10, I agree with what the critics are looking for. They're looking for an original script, original format, or if it's an unoriginal of those, it's executed so well that you enjoy it.
Like Star Wars.
Like Star Wars. It's like the script is completely copied and pasted from A New Hope, but it was executed so well that you don't care.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like self-aware humor. You're using the same jokes, but you're doing it in a new way so that people enjoy it.
Totally.
So for me, I agree with majority of what Rotten Tomatoes says. So I went on. Did you see what Rotten Tomatoes gave it?
83. Oh, Two-Lander. No.
22%. I was so bummed. I wanted it to be good, and I'm honestly super disappointed in Will Ferrell. Every single movie he's been in lately has sucked. Like,
Anchorman 2?
Past Anchorman 2, everything has sucked.
What was that movie that he was in with Mark Wahlberg just recently?
Daddy's Home.
I heard that was really good.
I've heard. I didn't see it. The reviews gave it terrible. They just said it was the cliches of every joke. It was everything you would expect it to be.
Really?
So
I heard differently. My dad said he really liked it. And
interesting.
I
Your dad doesn't
really-
like movies.
I know. Well, my dad likes
Your
movies.
dad doesn't like.
My dad,
he's particular.
he is particular in what movie he likes. Like, he's never negative. So if he didn't like a movie, he said he will either just not comment about it, or he would just be like, yeah, you should watch it. But if he likes a movie, he'll be like, it was a really good movie. And when he says that, I believe him. And he said that
Interesting.
about this movie.
Interesting.
So
and
I'll give you another example where. Oh, what were you gonna say?
I think the trailer. I like Mark Wahlberg. I like Will Ferrell, and so because of that, I feel like I like it enough to be willing
And I
to
think
give
it's
it a
an
shot.
interesting plot.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen something like that. So
Yeah.
maybe some summer, but
Yeah.
yeah. And I will give another example where I think Rotten Tomatoes got it wrong. I rented it with my brother and his wife. Goosebumps. Did you ever see Goosebumps?
I didn't see it, but it gave it good reviews.
It got a good review. It was terrible.
Really?
It was super cliche. The love story was like almost one of the most forced love stories I've ever seen in a movie.
Worse than Star Wars?
Worse, a lot worse than Star Wars.
That's pretty bad.
It was like, guy moves in, neighbor girl is cute, they date the first time they meet.
So, you watched Disturbia?
Except it's not Disturbia. The only redeeming factor for me was Jack Black. I love Jack Black.
Black's great. Have you seen School of Rock?
I love School of Rock. I've
is
seen it like a
great.
million times.
Oh.
One of the most legendary comedies, I would say. But yeah, Jack Black, he's funny. And I guess it is an original plot. And it's interesting, and it like a lot of the creatures in it look cool.
Would kids like it?
Kids would love it.
Okay.
But but it doesn't matter. Rotten Tomatoes doesn't matter. If it's a kids movie, it still needs to be done well, I think.
Okay.
Although they do give kids movies a little extra nod and extra points. I mean,
Did you see? I told you about the Norm of the North, right?
No.
Did you hear about this?
No.
Have you even heard about that movie?
No.
It's a kids movie that came out like 2 weeks ago.
Uh-huh.
Last time I checked, it was at 0%. Let me check.
0?
Every single review was like the hang on, I've got to find this. It's
That's
so funny.
impressive, actually.
Yeah, it is.
If a movie's at 0%, I actually want to see it.
Okay, listen to their consensus. It says, a pioneering feat in the field of twerking polar bear animation, but blarily retrograde in every other respect. Norm of the North should only be screened in case of parental emergency. That's their consensus on the main page.
Let me see it. Turn it
But it's
around.
up to 9%.
Twerking polar bear animation.
So one of the critics says, "Oh, here's one good. Neither its animation nor voice performances are particularly memorable, but the Norm of the North, especially in its early section, set in the Arctic, has its appealing moments." Here's another one. It's got elements of Happy Feet, Madagascar, Despicable Me, Ice Age, and any other number of other films, but most of these elements go nowhere. So,
And it's a positive?
no, that's a negative.
Oh, okay.
So,
by the way, Ice Age 25 is coming out.
yeah, oh my gosh. I saw that and I was just
I
like,
saw Ice Age
stop.
24. Just kidding.
Stop. It's like the Back to the Future. Remember they said Jaws 23 or whatever? Yeah, for that, it's actually, they got it wrong.
They're
It's
ruining
actually
it. Ice Age 1 was actually good.
Ice Age 2 was pretty good too. Ice Age 3 was fine.
Ice Age 3 was where it dropped the ball. That was Dawn of the Dinosaurs, right?
I think so, yeah. It was
That
pretty
one was
dumb.
terrible.
Yeah.
The second one was decent with like the introduction of like the lady. That was the second one, right? That was where the girl mammoth was in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It was fine.
that was fine.
Yeah.
The first one was great.
Because it was the meltdown when everything started to melt. It was like,
Yes.
oh, that's
to
cool.
the meltdown.
You
You're
know?
like, oh, that makes
That's
sense.
kind of cool. But
And
then it was
then
like the dawn of the dinosaurs.
dinosaurs,
Hooray.
Are we gonna go through time? Like soon they're gonna be like present day, and we're gonna wonder
But
why
then
this
somehow
mammoth
they're
is,
still
like,
alive.
2,000 years old, but then we'll forget about it.
They're probably gonna. It would be funny.
Because then we'll wonder
Did
why
you
this
see the
movie
short
series
film?
is 2000.
Did you see the short film of Scrat going into space?
No.
It's actually pretty funny.
You know,
There was an alien that abducts him, and he goes into space and he's trying to protect this acorn. And then at some point, he like falls back to Earth, and it causes the Ice Age. So it's like the origin story of how the Ice Age happened.
Oh, really?
So it is pretty funny. It's
You
just
know,
like,
I think it was an IBK tweet, and his tweets are genuinely awesome. And he tweeted something like, "They're making another Ice Age. They're just or it's something about how they're like, every time they make a new Ice Age, what they're really doing is teasing an upcoming movie with, or like we're all just hoping for an upcoming movie with whatever the squirrel guy,
Yeah, Scrat.
Like, I mean, like, why don't
If
they just
they just
make
did
it
a Scrat movie, I feel like.
Well,
But
just
did you
make a
see the
Scrat
Minions movie?
No.
Okay. The like Scrat's great. The
I
Minions
think
are great.
you mentioned in the podcast last week. It was
Really?
until there was a full length.
Yeah, but once
movie
they made a
movie.
full length movie, it's no good. I feel like if they made a full length movie of Scrat,
It would
I'd
still
just
be better
like,
than whatever Ice Age movie's coming
That's
out.
probably true. You know my favorite joke in Ice Age? When Sid first meets Diego. And Diego's like, I can lead you. And he looks at the leaf and he's just like, it's still green. They left camp about 2 hours ago. And Sid takes two sticks in his mouth. He's like, still green. They left camp about 3 hours. Favorite part in all of the movies. Because he's clearly jealous. It's just hilarious. Like,
Sid was awesome.
Sid was great. But, yeah, whatever. So, don't watch Zoolander. Pretty much is where we're getting. Trailers this week. Batman vs. Superman.
So many.
The trailer that should have existed. Ugh. Previous trailer.
Totally. It makes you actually want to watch the movie now.
Yeah, that's what a trailer should do.
Yeah.
Trailers should not. You know what? Hollywood, I'm sick and tired of it. Trailers should not show you what happens in the movie. Trailers
people in the back.
should just get you excited to see it.
There we go.
There we go. You heard it here first.
Amen.
Gosh, man. I know I've said it before. That trailer, seriously, I finished watching that trailer and I was mad. Like, when I saw Doomsday, I was so mad. When I saw Wonder Woman, I was so mad. I was like,
You can't get me into a Batman character without showing me a Batman action scene. So they finally showed us a Batman action scene, so I'm like, wait a minute. Batman's going to be in this movie. Instead of a Bruce Wayne at a party scene that nobody...
Who's that? Ding! Cliche music thing. And those
are the scenes that I skipped in the original Batman series. Like,
ugh.
You gotta show me a Batman action scene.
But then not only that, you can't have a movie... First, like, I'm going to say plot form error. You can't have a Batman versus Superman movie when it's Batman versus Superman teaming up with Wonder Woman against whatever his name is. I'm just like, seriously.
The
Death.
Something.
Oh my gosh, I just said it.
Apparently in the comics he actually kills Superman.
Yeah.
So
Whatever.
It'll be interesting.
I'm thinking Deadpool, but it's not Deadpool.
Time to look it up. We gotta look it up.
Doomsday.
You got it.
So, but like, that's, for me, that's the reveal that you do at the very end. Like, that's your cliffhanger. Or it's just like, obviously no one's gonna beat the other. It's like did you see Freddy versus Krueger?
No, I haven't.
Freddy cuts off Krueger, or Jason cuts off Freddy Krueger's, not Freddy versus Krueger, Freddy versus Jason.
Freddy versus Krueger.
Freddy versus
Freddy
Jason.
versus
Jason
a tiger.
cuts off Freddy Krueger's head, and it's like, oh, Jason won, and then he's carrying Jason's head, and he winks at the camera. I was just like, haha, like, the fight will never end. I feel like the movie should be, you have something to instigate the fighting. I like where it starts. Like, it should be Superman caused some death. It's a great way to link it. I get it. But the movie should be about them fighting. It should not be about being propaganda for DC because they're so behind on Marvel Cinematic Universe, so they have to shoehorn 5 characters. We've got Lex Luthor, Wonder Woman, Doomsday, and Aquaman. And the Flash getting introduced. Aquaman is also getting introduced into this movie.
And the Flash.
And the Flash.
It's gonna be different
and
than
Doomsday,
TV show Flash.
and Lex Luthor, and a new Batman, and Wonder Woman. All introduced into a movie that's supposed to be about Batman versus Superman. Like, freaking retarded. Like, seriously. DC, slow down. You have Suicide Squad. It's a separate movie. You're gonna do great on it. Slow down. Do not introduce 5 characters into one movie. Hate it.
How does Suicide Squad fit into all this?
I have no idea.
Okay.
But it is in the same universe. So it's just like, Marvel did it great. They did a movie. 2 years later, they did a movie. 2 years later, they did a movie. Eventually, they had a universe developed, and then they were like, we're going to do...
DC can't do it the same way that Marvel does it, though.
But it's not like they're copying it. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, you need a background story of Batman. You need a background story of Superman. You need a this and that.
You don't need a Batman story. You don't need a background Batman story.
I just want a solo film of him first. It's like, Spider-Man.
You just told me that you don't like solo films.
I know, but if it's done right, that's the key. You just gotta do it.
But the thing is, everyone already knows Batman. You don't need an introduction for Batman.
So
Parents
you don't want
died,
okay.
super billionaire.
So what you could do is just do a Batman
stuff
solo
at night.
film of where he's already Batman. He's already completely formed, and then just do a few, like, flashbacks of, like, haha, parents
Maybe
are
they
dead.
will. You don't know that.
But no, I'm saying, like, it would have been better to introduce Batman on his own and then introduce Superman. And
We'll see. We'll see. I mean,
if this movie impresses me, I will have great hopes for DC.
I didn't like Man of Steel, so I'm not really thinking that.
Yeah. But if it impresses me, I will have great hopes for the future of DC. Yeah. If it's everything that I think it's going to be, I'm going to say DC, you got a lot of work to do because you're never going to be as great as MCU if you continue this.
Well, even the comics themselves are not even as good as Marvel's, so.
Pretty much.
Then again, they do have Superman, though, which is still the most famous superhero.
Last thing. Hardcore Henry. What did you think?
Cool. I mean, it looks a little weird. Looks like one of those weird indie action films.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of looks like a Snowpiercer type of not even the same plot or anything, but just the action.
That type of feel.
Whereas
it feels cheap, but it doesn't have a low budget action film.
Right.
Yeah.
That's.
I could agree with that.
Super gory and kind of more dark.
I think the thing that's gonna stink about this is I think everyone's gonna love it, and then they're finally gonna have enough money to make a full length one, and I think they're gonna try. I think it's gonna be garbage.
We'll see. At least it'll be one good one though.
Yeah.
And, I liked how it looked like a video game.
Yeah.
Not that like a fake video game, but like it was first person, and
I wish
it was so cool.
I know. I wish movies like that, make me go like, this is so simple. I wish I would have thought of this first. You know what I mean? Or it's just like, dang it, no one's done a movie like this.
Yeah.
How have I not thought of this? Because now anyone who ever tries to do a movie like that is just gonna think, oh, this is a copy of Hardcore Henry. So, yeah. But that's everything I got.
All right.
You had a story?
Yes, I do.
What? Is it David's story
It is
time?
David's story time.
David's story time starring David. Everyone likes dubstep.
Brilliant music. So, I'm gonna tell a story that I was gonna tell.
The Red Bull's wearing off.
I was gonna tell a story that I'm going to tell a story that I was gonna tell 2 weeks ago.
Come on, David. Oh, did you finally remember this one?
No, it would have been awkward 2 weeks ago if I told it because it hadn't been completely fulfilled, and you'll know what I'm talking about later. It's about one of my friends. So, I have a friend.
So, did you, at the time when you said you forgot this story, did you really remember what it was and decide to hold off on it?
Yeah.
That is awful. Whatever.
Anyways, so I have this friend, and his name's Eric, and he'll probably be on some podcast in the future. He's the Deadpool guy. Can't wait to talk to him about the movie. But, so, I can't remember. It was before Christmas, before I had left. I went to Canada for Christmas time. And so it was before this, and we were hanging out, and he told me, hey, David, I'm going to get you a Christmas gift this year. And I was thinking, wait a minute. And I was thinking, dang it, man. I don't, this was literally right after I bought the gifts for all my family. And I spent already way more than I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I just was honest. I'm like, Eric, I'm probably not going to be able to get you a Christmas gift. And he's like, no, dude, don't worry about it. Seriously, I just want to give you a Christmas gift. And I didn't want to be that cliche, you see it in every Christmas movie. Oh, well, he gave me a gift, so now I have to give him a gift. Like, I'm smarter than that. I'm past that thinking. I'm not going to think that way. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to let him give me a gift. Because he's a gift giver, that's kind of who he is. Like, that's why I love that guy. So, I went to Canada, and then I came back. It was already after Christmas, and it was probably, I'd say like a week, maybe 2 weeks after New Year's, and we hang out. And I remember that he was gonna give me a Christmas gift.
Mm-hmm.
But when we hung out, he's like, "Oh, dude, you know what? I was gonna give you the Christmas gift, but
Mm-hmm.
I forgot at my house."
Okay.
And so I was like, "Okay, that's cool." Hung out again. This next time, didn't even mention it.
Yeah.
Didn't even mention it again. And in the back of my head, I was like, "You know what, Eric? You didn't give me a Christmas gift, did you?" And I was like, "But the thing is, like, I didn't give him one, so it's not even a big deal if he comes out and says, you know what, I didn't give you a Christmas gift." But then again, I'd be like, well, if you didn't give me a Christmas gift, why would you lie about actually buying it? You know? And I was like, so did he give me a Christmas gift or not? Then we hang out again. So this is literally like I'd say like mid-January.
Okay.
Now. Like January 15th, 16th. I don't know. I'm just totally making up the number, but. And we hang out again, and he doesn't mention it again. I'm like, all right. At this point, do I mention it to him, even though I never gave him a gift? I want to hold him to his word, right? Because we're friends. But then again, it just seems like greedy, and it's not like I really I deserve it or anything, because I didn't give anything. So I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna be a douche. So I was just like, whatever. So I didn't ask, I didn't push, and I completely forgot about it.
Okay.
And then we hang out like 2 weeks ago, and he's like, "Oh, bro, I got your Christmas gift."
Oh, no
just
way.
Out of nowhere.
Does he have
He
it?
actually bought it, and it's this hat I'm wearing right now. And that was the gift. It's
I
really,
thought I'd never seen that hat before.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Did you wear that hat just because you were going to tell this story?
I did not, but actually, I'm genius.
You should have said yes.
I gotta be honest.
That's true.
So yeah, it's just one of those awkward situations that I'm, and I
That's
think
really
I
funny.
think what I learned about it is that I should trust Eric.
You
If he
should
tells
trust
me-
him.
You gotta trust your friends,
Yeah.
because if you can't trust your friends, they shouldn't be your friends.
And if you can't trust your friends, then who can you trust?
It's always like, I just remember in middle school, I'd have people come up to me and be like, "Oh yeah, my friend stole my iPod," or like, "My friend did this." I'm like, why are they your friend? like the fact that they stole something
when
of
you
yours,
when you hear
you
stories
should
like
not
that.
call them your friend.
Yeah, and they're like, you don't understand them the way I do. It's like the boyfriend and girlfriend situation where it's just like, wait, he calls you that, and you're still dating him?
Like
Yeah,
10
you
years
just-
later,
but
he'll be
don't
hitting
know
you,
him.
and you'll be like, "Oh, but he's my friend."
Yeah,
like,
I've heard
no,
too
he's
many
not.
stories. Yeah, I've heard too many stories like that where they're like, oh, you just don't know him the way I do. Like,
It's like, you're better
did you,
than that.
Did you
Come
ever
on.
hear that girl who she ended up getting called to Dr. Phil because people were so mad at her. She posts on
I
Facebook.
think I know what you're saying.
And she says, when a guy hits you, you should be proud because he's willing to get in trouble with the law by hitting you. So that's clearly evidence that he loves you more than any other guy.
Well, the thing is, it's really sad if you get yourself to that point to think that way.
I
That's
was just like,
the guy's got to be so manipulative to her, and it's really saddening. The fact that she's willing to admit it and has no idea how crazy she
no,
sounds.
but she said that she's like, she will only date a guy that hits her. That's outrageous. And so Dr. Phil was like, he brought her on the show, and he pretty much yelled at her. It's just like, what are you thinking? And she's just like, you just don't understand. Like, and she tried saying her point again, and Dr. Phil essentially was just like, you're a freaking moron. Like, and I agree. Yeah. How could you ever, like, I could give my 2 cents about what a guy should do, but I won't. That's for next episode.
That's for some time.
Some other time in the future.
Yes.
But it was just, it's outrageous to. So you have a good friend.
Yeah, I do. Eric's a great friend.
Yeah.
I have a lot of decent friends.
Speaking of great friends, we've got Tempur-Pedic, who we're trying to become good friends with.
I called the CEO the other day.
And how'd it go?
He had never heard of us,
Okay.
which surprised me. I
Yeah.
thought he probably would have heard of Out of Order.
Yeah.
But I was like, hey
was
man,
was
can
he
we get
pretty
it?
well tempered?
No, man, he had this terrible temper, man.
Yeah.
He was just so pedic. Man.
He's Pete Dick.
So pedic. How dare you? How dare you, man? This is a PG. Anyways.
Pedic. Tempur-Pedic.
Yeah.
Okay, so how did you said he had a terrible
so
attitude.
I called him, and he had the terrible attitude. He's like, dude, I never heard of you. Like, dude, like, who do you think you are? Like, this is probably a scam. I was like, no, you just give us cash, and we mention your company on it.
Yeah.
And then he's like, but you already have. And I'm like, you're right.
Yeah, but we'll continue to.
And
I'm not gonna lie. If we continue to do this, I will definitely call the CEO. I will for sure.
Okay, we need more than 20 viewers.
We need more than 20 viewers, obviously, but that will.
I don't think that's how sponsorship work either. I don't think the more you mention it, the more though.
No, but it's more so like if you the majority of what it is if you mention the fact that you use their product, they're willing to pay you for it. So.
We'll see.
Yeah, so that's a goal.
On that note, anything else you'd like to share before we give our sign out? I know I'm good.
Yeah, I think we covered everything.
Well, I think that was a successful podcast.
That was a very successful podcast. Shortest episode yet, and I feel like it was the most successful.
I would completely agree.
But let's see if our views count gets higher, and we'll see.
We'll see.
All right.
It's not about views, though.
Hey, guys, look at the screen. All right, 1, 2, 3. Have a Tempur-Pedic day.